Oh my god! Look at you! Damn! Proud! Look at the form looking fierce. Oh my god, like your training has clearly been paying off. Your training has paid off tremendously. Do you mind if I give me a second? Do you mind if I just Oh my god, that's your power? Shit! Respect! Yo, dudes and dudettes, your friendly neighborhood JaxBlade is back with another video for y'all today. Today, I just want to talk to you about maximizing your body stats because everyone has different goals for themselves, but there are these certain physical stats that we achieve through training and various ways of how to improve them. And I've talked about this in depth before, so right now what I want to do is see where your physical stats are at and how like your body has improved over your course of training, or if you're just a beginner, it's completely fine. We're going to get you there so you know exactly what to do. But also I have to say this, I am super hyped for this film. I am mega hyped for this fucking movie. Oh my god, it's freaking Spider-Verse 2. God tier, and we get No Way Home soon, so that's just, I'm hyped. I'm very hyped. And the reason I'm talking to y'all today about this is because I was having this talk with a good friend of mine where we were talking about how like, while you can be like really great at certain things, you can't be the best at everything, but you can be adept at a lot of things. So that's where this video got spawned from. Because for example, if you were like the best at every single sport or athletic thing, then you would literally be superhuman. Like you would literally be a metahuman in all those regards. For example, take some of the strongest strongmen on the planet, like freaking Mark Felix or Halfthor, you know, the Mountain from Game of Thrones and stuff like that, and how just insanely strong and powerful they are at lifting and doing like insane feats of strength. Like if you take them in their sport, they're like gods. But if you put them in another sport, like for example, if you made them try to race Usain Bolt or something like that on the track, then they're getting dusted because they didn't train for that. They didn't have the training specificity to train for that. And that's completely fine. Everyone has different specificities to do for yourself. And then of course the same thing goes with like Usain Bolt. If you put Usain Bolt on in a pool, if you have him race Michael Phelps, he's not gonna win. And I just realized I came so it sounds racially motivated. It's not. All right, if you're black, learn how to swim, please, so that stereotype goes away. But like, you know what I mean? Like in a pool, Michael Phelps would outclass Usain Bolt in like just racing wise. Like he would just dust him. And then the same thing goes with like Michael Phelps, like in like a boxing ring. Like you put Michael Phelps in a boxing ring, he ain't gonna outbox someone like Mike Tyson or Manny Pacquiao or something like that. Just he didn't train for it. Like everyone has training specificities, and so if you can focus what you want to like be the best at for yourself, then that's great. That is phenomenal, and I highly encourage you to it. But if you're just someone who wants to be adept at many things but not necessarily the best and maximize your body stats, well, today I got the video for you, and I thought this would be a fun topic. So here's Jax with science. Actually, this isn't really science because it's more just fitness stuff, but I guess technically it is science, but I don't have my lab coat, so this is Jax with fitness facts, nerd time. So today what we're going to be doing is I'm going to be going over some various topics I've talked about before. Now I'm not going to go mega in depth with them like I did before, like, because if you want to learn about these fully, just go watch like these videos. I'll tell you exactly what video you need to do. So for example, my strength video, did that in the month of Halloween. You can watch this video right here that's on the screen. For my cardio video, did this a couple years back. I'm also going to be doing a new one, which will be fun, so look out for that. This is going to be just on this video right here. And then for flexibility, of course, you got to watch this yoga video where I talk about how the benefits and all that stuff and what it does for your body and all that fun stuff. And then of course, emotional control, which I talked about in my most recent video, which I actually was very proud of because so many people just start opening up in the comment section about like, I thought I had my emotions under control, but I failed like that little test that I gave, because I put this little test out there to see if people get like, you know, compromised easily. And surprisingly, a lot of people were like, oh crap. So if you haven't seen that video, highly recommend it. One of my proudest videos. Go read the comment section. Like so many people learned a lot about themselves, and so many people like were just talking about like, how do I get better at this? And then this is how I got better at it. So love that video. Think it's great. Also did a meditation video along with it. But what we're going to be doing is we're going to rate all of these 1 out of 5, so you can see like, oh, where are you at, like, you know, with your fitness stuff, because, you know, like there are various things that go along with it. So okay, so, you know, we're going to do strength, cardio, flexibility, muscle control. Then of course we'll do like bonus stuff like IQ and, you know, muscle mass and all that fun stuff. But I digress. Let's get to it. So we're going to start off with strength. Remember, we're rating this 1 out of 5 and stuff like that. So for example, absolute, relative, explosive, endurance. Those aren't all of the types of strength. There are technically 7, but I talked about these ones, force and depth, because I'm saving those other ones for other videos. But right now, let's just talk about these. So for example, those who need a quick refresher, absolute, think of massive power lifter and strongman. For relative strength, think of a gymnast or calisthenic athlete. For explosive, think of either an Olympic sprinter or a boxer who has to punch hard or like burst fast, something like that. And for strength endurance, think of like, you know, either a farmer or like someone who bike rides a lot, like going up hills and all that stuff. Like, you know, those are the main ones to think about. Or sometimes strongman too, because I have to carry like various things back and forth, but I think a farmer just gives a better visual. I don't know if I said this in the other video, but you can train all of these and get strong in all of these. Like, it doesn't have to be super specific, but if you do train all of these at the same time, it's not going to be as effective as if you focused on one primarily and then like you went on to move on to the other ones. Because if you try to do all of them at the same time, one of them that you really want to improve will start to lacking, because that's why training specificity is super important, so that you're able to go, oh, I want to increase this ability about myself. I want to be able to climb a tree. I want to be able to like carry this for long periods of time and stuff like that. And remember, if you are strong in one of these, then you are not considered weak, my friend, because like, you know, there are sometimes people who are like, oh, I can bench press like this 1,000 pounds and deadlift this amount of weight. I'm way stronger than everyone else. But then when you get down to it, they can't like, you know, climb a tree or do a certain amount of pull-ups, or they can't like, you know, carry objects for long periods of time without getting gas, or they can't like, you know, punch super hard like a boxer with like the PSI, stuff like that. It all is different training specificity. This is not a diss, it's just different training specificity for yourself. So if you have a training specificity like where you're like a boxer who's like 146 pounds, but your punching PSI is that of Ivan Drago's, then you are a beast. No one can call you weak. If you can like sprint like insanely fast, you are incredibly like strong. Like no one could say that otherwise to you. Or like if you can like carry stuff for long objects, like you are incredibly a strong person. Don't ever let anyone tell you otherwise. Now, I will say this, if you're like adept at like one of these is your specialty, then I put you like at a 1 on the strength scale. If you're really good at that, then I put you at a 2 on the strength thing. And remember, like, I'm not saying like, oh, you're weak in general. I'm just saying like, this is just something to keep in mind when the overarching thing of this. But if you're like strong, like at, like multiple versions, I put you at like around a 3 or a 4, depending on where you're at. And if you're like 5, that means like you got great absolute strength, you got great relative strength, explosive strength, endurance, all that stuff, then that is a certain 5 for yourself. For example, for me specifically, I have a lot of relative, explosive, and endurance because I do a lot of boxing, but I also do a lot of calisthenics stuff. And then I like to like help my friends move and stuff like that, so I'll like carry objects and I can like do it for a long time. So I'm always one of the best friends when it comes to moving stuff. But like when it comes to absolute strength, I'm not the best. Like it's just not. But like I like the relative, explosive, and endurance because like it makes me feel like Goku when he's training on like the gravity chamber. You remember when he's doing all those insane things? Like that just gets me hyped doing it. But when it comes to absolute, like, you know, powerlifting, stuff like that, I'm not the best. I completely know that about myself. It's just, you know, I'm conscious of the things, and then like maybe later in the future I'll focus more on it, but that is just something I do for myself. But again, watch my video on strength and that's what I say for it. So yeah, like you just 1 out of 5. Like if you got all these, then you're definitely a 5 in the scale. So don't forget that. Like if you can like do a lot of great things. So remember, it's gonna be different for everyone. All right, so it's gonna be different for everyone. Like for example, depending on your height, your weight, and all that stuff, it really does play a difference in all of these and like how impressive they are. But again, never feel like self-conscious about it, like, oh, so-and-so's doing this. Like you are doing the best of your ability, and that is what's most important. All right, so that is what I think is super important, and never take that for granted. You at least trying does so much more for you than you realize. Next up, we're gonna move on to cardio, which I talked about before. So this is one of those situations which I'm gonna talk about in depth in an upcoming video, but like what I mean by this is like your speed, your stamina, and your endurance. So for example, let's say you're really fast, like you're super fast, like you can dart, like you can do like 100-meter dash in like 9 seconds or some shit, like insane, like some Usain Bolt thing, or like 9 to 11 seconds or anything like that. Like you're really fast, but you don't have the stamina to maintain that sort of speed. So like for example, if you had to do like that like 3 times, you probably get gassed out like pretty fast. Or you like you don't have the endurance to keep going further with it. Like you can't maintain that speed for long periods of time in addition. So for example, a lot of sprinters aren't the best like distance runners, and like, you know, inversely, a lot of distance runners, because they always go so far with their distance running, they are able to, you know, accelerate at a faster pace because they know they got more in the tank depending on what they do. And remember, sprinting is different from long distance running, and I want to say like this does not just focus on sprinting and running. Like you can do this with any sort of cardio, like swimming, bike riding, all that stuff. I'm just saying like running and sprinting is just like a very fast, easy to picture way. Like it's a very easy to picture way. So for example, if you're like fast at like, you know, running, stamina, endurance, all that stuff, then you are like incredible. Your cardio is absolutely incredible, because not only can you go the distance, like 5 miles, but you can also like sprint and then like adjust yourself accordingly. Because remember, sprinting uses different muscles than your freaking long distance one. So it's like type 1A and type 2A, all that stuff. I talk about it in depth in that video. Go watch that video after this. You can understand it fully, and I think it's just educational. But let's say you are fast. You're very fast, but if it comes to going the distance like Rocky, you're gonna get gassed out. All right, so I'd put you at about like a 1 or a 2. But let's say you like have a bit of stamina, so you can do like, you know, 400 meters or something like that. And then I put you around like a 3 right here. All right, I put you about like a 2 or a 3. But let's say you have the endurance to like do like 5 miles and then also incorporate the speed and stamina. I would say that would definitely be a 5, because you can maintain but also be fast. And I always talk about this, like one of the reasons I'm such a cardio bunny is because of this freaking level. And also, if you've seen Primal, that episode with the long neck, and also Zombieland.
Rule number 1 for surviving Zombieland: cardio.
I think it's like important just to have all these, so you're not only fast, but you can maintain that level of like cardiovascular intensity for yourself, because it is very important just to have your heart and lungs, like especially when you get older. I want to say this, like there's this quote from Bruce Lee that I really love. It's like, big muscles and like bulging biceps may like boost the ego, but when you get past 30, your health and wellness really depend on how fit your heart and lungs are. And so like I'm 30, so I feel like I feel great. Like I still feel great because I do so much cardio, but I incorporate all the other stuff in it as well. That's the key thing about like doing longer distance periods of cardio, because like the thing about it is it's a mental thing. Like if you remember that speech of Will Smith on the key to life is running and reading, I'll just play it briefly here.
All right, now, why running? When you're running and you're out there and you're running, there's a little person that talks to you. And that little person says, oh, I'm tired. My lungs are about to pop. Oh, I'm so hurt. I'm so tired. There's no way I could possibly continue. And you want to quit, right? That person, if you learn how to defeat that person when you're running, you will learn how to not quit when things get hard in your life. Running. All right, that's the first key to life.
That has so much meaning, because it's like, it's more of a mental thing. Like, it's like, of course you can do that and like work your heart and lungs with the shorter burst stuff, but it's just like you going like, I'm tired, but I'm gonna keep going and I'm gonna push myself. Of course, staying safe, of course. Your safety is my #1 priority. Want to make that perfectly clear. And remember, like, don't feel bad if you're only adept at one of these, because especially if you're like a distance person who can only like do long distances, but you can't go that fast, but you can go forever. Like, that is a bit out there, but again, it is one of those things that happens. It does happen to certain people. So remember, like, focus on your speed, your stamina, endurance, all that stuff. And if you can maintain that, then that is completely respectable as well. But like, I would say if you have all 5 of these down, or like all 3 of these down, then you're definitely a 5. But if you have like one of them, then I'd say like, you know, around 1 to 3 range in here. All right, just saying that. Again, I don't ever want someone to be like, oh, I feel dissed or something like that. No, I'm not doing that at all. I'm just saying this so that you can like go out your way to say like, oh, do I want to better that about myself? Oh, cool. So there we go. Now on to flexibility. Now with flexibility, I will say that like I've just gone in depth gushing about it before, because I truly do believe that if you do more yoga or do more mobility training, you'll feel a lot better, because your body is loosey-goosey and the blood and oxygen is just moving everywhere, and you'll feel great, as I talked about in depth in my, you know, yoga video, flexibility. But I think it also is just so great at preventing injuries as well, because like, again, like I'm 30, I feel great whenever I do yoga, and like I was worried that, oh god, my knees are gonna stop working at this age or something like that, which is, 30 is not even old, but people make it seem like, oh, you're decrepit or something like that, and I'm just like, I'm still good, I'm still sexy motherfucker. I honestly think it's just like one of the best things you can do for your body overall, because like you don't have to spam it. Like, you don't have to do like hours every single single day. You can do like 5-10 minutes building up like a daily. Like it doesn't have to be that long. Like do follow along videos on the stuff. And of course, like don't do it right before weight training. Of course, that's going to make it weaker. You just relax the muscle. Like if you do it like after your weight training, or like you like space it out throughout the day, you'd be fine. Like that is one of those situations where it is such a hindrance to people because they like, oh, I did a bunch of stuff and then I went and lifted and I was nowhere near as strong. And it's like, of course, you just relaxed yourself to a point where it's not gonna be as effective. But if you do your time, like you take your time and you build up and you give yourself plenty of space between strength training and it, you will see like a lot of benefits in yourself. I truly do believe that is like just from my firsthand experience, as I talked about in that video. But again, like for 1 out of 5 here, I think it just depends. Like for example, I say like 5 is like you can do like the splits, or you can do like, you know, yoga things, like where you, what is that, lotus pose, you know, stuff like that. But, and then like 1 is just, you know, you're steadily building up. Like 3 is like, oh, I can do bridges, or I can, you know, do this pretty easily. Like some people can't do this for some reason. Like I can do it pretty casually just because I do yoga and stuff like that. So yeah, you know, I just think of stuff like that to, you know, see how mobile you are, see how flexible you are. Just look up drills on it. I'll also have some more follow-ons coming to this channel, but that's a key thing to check out. Be sure to watch that video. And then next, of course, 1 out of 5, your emotional control since your mind training, because I've talked about how important it is to strengthen the mind, because like you are pretty much like Krang, and some people got upset like, I'm not Krang, I'm not brain and stuff like that. It's just like your brain is you're the bone mecha controlling yourself, and of course there are different areas that control the body too. Like sometimes your body just seems like, oh, my body's doing this, but my brain's doing this. So like, you know, it works various ways, but that's just, I wanted to say that as a cool little visual for people out there. But the reason for that is because I want you to realize you have control. You have control of yourself and how you react to certain situations. And there are people out there, which is why I talked in depth about like, you know, the people out there who may have those like neural imbalances, those chemical imbalances, those mood disorders that go undiagnosed because they feel like, oh, there's nothing wrong with me, stuff like that. And then they get agitated whenever you try to help or reach out because they think you're talking down to them, or they think you're like, you know, pitying them, you know, stuff like that. Like it depends on what you are as a person. Specifically, go watch this video. Like a dead ass, like go watch this video after this. I think it's my most important video out of all the ones, because you have control of yourself. Like you really do. Like whether or not, if you don't physically, then that's why I recommend going to see someone if you can, or talking to loved ones about this, because it is so integrally important to you, because this is you. And if you do not get this right, then all this other stuff will fail. Like it will literally fail if you do not get it right. All right. Because like you will either do damage to yourself or do damage to other people. And that is not good. That is not good at all, my friends. So like really focus on improving that. There are so many ways, methods I've talked about on this channel. That's why mental health is a colossal thing to me. And I've realized just from my BS things, I've done a whole playlist on this, on like, you know, my experiences in life, but I think that's super important. So this is just, you know, how long you can, like, you know, keep your cool or stuff like that. So for example, like, are you 1 out of 5? Like, does one is like every little thing freaks me out. Like, oh my God, someone said didn't clean, I'm gonna fucking throw this thing. I can't stand this thing. Or like, you know, if you see something and the stimulus, or if you see something minimal, like one of the examples I used in the video was like versus battle people, because I love versus battle, and it is fun to see people, you know, go in on each other and get like super excited, and it's fun to see that passion and stuff like that, and see them get heated at each other, but then afterwards it's cool. But there are some people who will take those debate battles so seriously that it is the equivalent of if someone like slapped their mother or kicked their pet. And again, if you are just talking, because if you're going like for example, if someone is upset like, oh my God, can you believe that they said that freaking Fluttershy could beat Gohan in a fight? That is the stupidest thing ever. Their whole family should die. They should fucking die. I can't believe. It's just like, dude, these are 2 fictional characters. They do not exist. But you are getting so bent out of shape that this is the equivalent of if someone kicked your pet or slapped your mother. That is not healthy. Now again, I'm not saying that to talk down to someone. I'm saying it as a thing to get checked out, because some people get the heat. They get just like freaking heated so easily, and it's not healthy. So you need to be able to control your emotions. 5 is like your super zen, and it's like nothing gets you ill. You're like super stoic. Like it's that stoic philosophy. Like for me, again, I want to always say I'm not perfect with this. I probably had like a 3 or 4 because I do so much meditation and I actively look out for it. Like one of my biggest things is because I used to take my emotions out on people who had nothing to do with it. When I finally got help, I would realize, okay, this is what's going on with me. And so now, no matter what happens, I will not take my personal issues on someone who has nothing to do with it. Like, that is something I work on every single day of my life. Like, I will not take my personal issues on me, because that would be weak. Like, that is why I'm focusing on getting stronger here. But I think that's very important. I think your mental health, your mind control, all that stuff is so, so incredibly important. So never neglect it. And then bonus tips. So bonus is your IQ. Like, how intelligent are you? Like, and intelligence is very subjective, because you can be incredibly intelligent at, like, you know, something. Like, for example, for me, let me take me for example. I am incredibly intelligent when it comes to anything fitness and health related, because I've studied it. I fell in love with it years ago. I've been doing this for over a decade. I've trained like hundreds and thousands of clients at this point in time, like, not even like joking, like literally that amount. And it's a thing where it's like, oh, I've studied it so much, I'm very competent in my knowledge in that stuff. When it comes to something like, say, I don't know, astrophysics or politics or other stuff, like, I'm dumb as shit. I'm dumb. I'm stupid. Like, the whole thing with like NFTs, I thought that meant nice fit tomboys. I don't know what the frick NFT is, all right? But then my freaking friends Saber and Tommy are like talking about them all the time. I'm like, what the fuck? And then I just like, they've explained it so many times, and it's like a hamster wheel in my brain, and then it slows down, and I'm like, oh God, yeah, I get it. I know now, but it's just one of those situations where intelligence just comes from what you specifically are intelligent at. So for example, I mean, I would say I'm an expert in Dragon Ball because I read the manga so many times for over 20 plus years now, like reread the entire manga 20 plus times at over 20 plus years now. So it's just one of those things like, oh no, I'm very adept at it because I love that series. But again, intelligence is just, you know, something that you're really good at. Like if you're like freaking Dexter's Lab, like you're building stuff. Like my friend Gabe, if you know him, Black Griffin on YouTube, like he is massively intelligent. He can build a laser, do all this stuff, build rocket ships, do all that stuff. He's insanely intelligent. But again, that it's subjective. It's subjective what intelligence is. So like, you know, see where that ranks for you. Like if you're really an expert in like, I wouldn't say like, but well, depending on what job you're at, this is a weird time we're living in where influencers and all that stuff happen. But yeah, it depends on what your intelligence is, like whether it be various things. That's all I'm gonna say on it, just a bonus thing. Then of course, the final thing, how much muscle mass you have on your frame. Now of course, we've talked about before, and specifically this video right here, my Kengan Baki video, if you want to know about muscle mass and like what it does for the body, stuff like that. Like it's so much how it affects you with various sports. It can be either super helpful or it can be a hindrance at times if you don't have the other things. Like for example, if your muscle mass goes up, then your cardiovascular system's gonna have to work because it has more active tissue to push like oxygen through, and I've talked about it in depth right here, so you can go watch this video. And then like of course your flexibility may go down if you don't hyper focus on it. That's why like a lot of bodybuilders have trouble with their stuff, because they don't hyper focus on flexibility unless they're martial artists. And then of course, you know, strength and endurance and all that stuff can go up if you have all that, if you've trained it properly. So again, you know, just see, you know, and then, you know, body fat percentage too, which I've talked about in that video as well. Like all of it is just various things. But the reason I'm talking about this today is just, you know, see what your stats are for yourself. See what your stats are. Like see how much you can do. Like if you're someone, like I had a friend who is like such a top tier athlete, and he was saying like, oh, I completely suck at when it comes to like long distance running. I suck at that, or I suck when it comes to like long distance swimming. I suck at flexibility, but like he can hoop, he can fight, he can do all this other stuff, but it just comes down to like he didn't train for that specifically, and so now he's trying to get better at that. When I was like, oh, I have nothing but respect for you, bro, because you're trying to get better at it. And so that's what I want for you. Like I want you to try and get better at all these. Now again, if you have a training specificity for yourself, focus on that. And then like these are just little bonus things that you have in the future, because like I think it is cool to just be like as Pioneer would say, a jack of all trades when it comes to fitness stuff. Like none but love to it, that dude. But like I think it is just a super cool thing that you can like adapt and build yourself up in various ways and be adept at various things, because you never know when they'd be helpful. For those of you who actually want to go about training this stuff, I actually have quite a few programs that specify increasing all of these. If you go in my description box down below, and they actually will help out a lot of people, so go check out my programs on this stuff. And then of course, if you're interested, like, be sure to hit that bell icon and subscribe. I upload a ton of content like this stuff. I really do appreciate all the love y'all been giving me. My channel slowed down a bit because like I had to focus on so many other things, but I really do appreciate those consistent viewers. Like, you really helped me out. So next we got 500K. Let's go for 1 million. Let's go for 1 million, y'all. I really appreciated my JaxBlade army. And if you made it this far in the video, type in like my power level is max. You know, just my power level is max. It lets me know who watched this video all the way to the end. And I hope you enjoyed the video. Okay, y'all, I have to ask this. I've been getting this question a lot on TikTok because yeah, I have a TikTok, JaxBlade or stuff like that. But like a lot of people have been asking me All Might versus Yujiro Hanma. Would y'all be interested if I broke that down? Because I don't think this is such a fight, but apparently a lot of people on here are like, oh no, this is completely like this is this. And I'm just like, there's so many stats that are wrong that I'm just like, bruh, like, I don't think that. So would y'all be interested in like an All Might versus Yujiro video? Let me know in the comment section down below, all that stuff, because I will literally break this down and I'll call the anime trainer with me, because this is something that I'm just like, I did not think it was like this. So anyways, let me know what you think. Click on any of these videos if you're interested, if you're new here, stuff like that. Got a ton of great ones on the channel. Remember, like I always say, keep calm, booyah on. Don't forget, momentai. Peace.